Welcome to the Leading at the Next Level podcast with Dove Development and Consulting, the show built to provide ongoing support for your leadership journey. So over the last month and a half, whatever, Cindy and I've had an absolutely amazing experience of being able to interview executive panelists and partners for the Leadership Legacy experience coming up on June 13th. Today, I get to continue down that path. While Jonathan Harrison and I haven't known one another directly for a long time, we've got a ton of mutual friends, and that relationship, it feels like we've been friends for decades because of the mutual friends, and it's just been so much fun. Now, I'm going to let him give his professional background, but I'll say he serves as general manager for a company that I've known the owners for more than a decade. I absolutely love working with the owners, and when Jake reached out and says, "Hey, I'm hiring a general manager, I think you're going to like him," I was a little bit, I'm not going to say apprehensive, but I was just, okay, this is unusual. And it has been a fantastic relationship. Jonathan, I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. And I've just loved developing the friendship. So give us some of your professional background and whatever you want to touch on about your experience in the industry.
Absolutely. And Wes, let me start out by saying I've really enjoyed getting to know you and Cindy as well. I think we're very like-minded people, and it's been a great thing. So thank you for the great introduction. So I graduated from Virginia Tech with a degree in civil engineering in 1996. I went to work for a site work contractor in Charlottesville. Started out doing survey layout, foreman type work. They moved me into the office, I don't know, probably 6 months into my time there. Taught me how to do takeoff, how to do estimating, how to do project management. Really had a great opportunity to work for a lot of really good leaders there. It was a great place to be for a young guy right out of college. I was there, I think, about 7 years, and then transitioned into a general contracting role back in the Valley. Eventually, over the course of my career, I moved my way up into vice president capacity with a local general contractor. Have had the opportunity to work on a lot of projects, really of multiple sizes, types, all around the Valley, all around the Piedmont, to Richmond, to North Carolina. I got to know Jake and Darla as they did some mechanical work for the company I worked with. Great folks. We really hit it off. And one day Jake said, "Hey, I'm looking for a general manager. Are you interested?" And it was just the perfect time and perfect opportunity. And I've been here for a year now, and it's great.
Yeah, Jonathan, Jake and I worked together about a decade ago, and he was in his late 20s and carried himself in a way that I didn't always remember he was in his late 20s. He was so good at what he does.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. I don't know that there's anybody better in the space that he's in the design build space and HVAC, specifically in commercial and industrial. But he's just a good person too. And as I've gotten to know Darla, gosh, what a fantastic couple. I love the business, and I'm more excited that you're a part of it. Now,
you're exactly right. That's what drew me here is the ethics and the morals, and then the ability as well. So yeah, definitely, absolutely.
You also mentioned, as we were about to go live and have this conversation, you mentioned some of your volunteer background outside of the profession.
Yes.
Talk about that just a little bit too.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Harrisonburg, multiple generations, and my father actually was a life member and past chief and past president of host company number 4. So I kind of grew up around the firehouse in Harrisonburg. When I turned 16, I joined what was at that time the City Volunteer Fire Company number 1. Then I joined Fire Company number 4, and I was really active from 1990 probably up to 2000 and 2006, 2007. Then my kids got to the age I didn't really have time for that any longer, and recently I've gotten back into it again with the Bridgewater Volunteer Fire Company, and I've served in a leadership capacity as a lieutenant, as an assistant chief, and also in a vice president role. So I've had leadership roles at work and as well in a volunteer capacity.
So I'm going to come back to the specific roles shortly, but before I do, I want to ask you, in each of those, Jonathan, you know as well as I do, it's often easier to show up, punch a clock, take care of whatever widgets we're making, and go home than it is to take on that responsibility that comes with those roles where you mentioned vice president, project manager, whatever they are. What's been that clear purpose for you that you said, yeah, I'm willing to take on a little bit extra?
You know what? It's really interesting. I would have had a really hard time answering that accurately. I think 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago. I think for me, I just kind of liked what I did, and I just kind of did it, but I never really reflected upon what about it I liked. Now, as I get older and I think more about that kind of thing, I think a lot of what I really like is I enjoy helping people. So I enjoy helping our customers solve whatever problem they may have. I enjoy helping our customers build a successful project. And I think that ties into the fire rescue that I did or do, because I enjoy helping the person whom is having an emergency. So I think at the end of the day, I just really like to see projects, whatever I'm involved in, being successful, because I think at the end of the day, I'm helping someone who needs some level of assistance.
Yeah. And you mentioned earlier at 16, you started with, I think you said station number 1 in Harrisonburg, and then company number 4 that's out on Port Road. With that said, we've got a very close mutual friend that neither of us realized until the relationship progressed. And that's Ben, who's going to be MC in the Leadership Legacy event. Ben and I have been friends since we were maybe 12, 13 years old and Boy Scout together. But he did too. I remember when he started riding his bicycle to and from the fire he would fight.
Yeah. So Ben and you are from Timberville, and Ben joined the Timberville Fire Company. And he and I had what is called Firefighter 1 class together, which is the entry-level basic firefighter course that allows you to put on an air mask and go into a fire and really start doing all those things that come with being a firefighter. Well, Ben and I was probably 17 or 18, and Ben was probably 16 or 17. We happened to be in the same class. Ben and I hit it off pretty quickly. And then Ben ended up, when he graduated high school, he moved from Timberville to Harrisonburg, and he joined Hose Company number 4. And he and I both mainly ran at the Rock Street Firehouse, also the Port Road Firehouse. But Ben and I, just the friendship really took off even further from that point. And Ben was actually one of the groomsmen in my wedding. So yeah, it's very coincidental that we both know Ben so well.
Yeah. And Jonathan, he asked me a couple times through the processes of me coercing him to be our MC for the event. Why do you want me? Well, first, I trust you implicitly. Mm-hmm. Second, with us doing what we're doing to help launch the 100 Club for the Harrisonburg Professional Firefighters Foundation, while he's not currently involved in the Harrisonburg firefighters fire department, he's been involved over the years. But more importantly, he's the type of person, specifically because of what he went through about 2.5 years ago with beating cancer, that's exactly the type of thing that the Harrisonburg Professional Firefighters Foundation exists for.
Absolutely. You're 100% right with all of that. And, Ben, and Ben, I know probably shared this with you, but he volunteered in Harrisonburg, Rockingham County, but he also worked as a career firefighter in Harrisonburg for, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 years before he went to Fairfax.
Yep.
So Ben was a paid firefighter in Harrisonburg for a period of time as well.
Yeah, he had the apartment on Vine Street, if I'm remembering right.
Yes, you're 100% right. Yep, he did.
So yeah, and here's where I'll go back to for taking on those roles, even as late teens, early 20s, that purpose of helping people. I heard Ben say it over and over. I heard you say it, but that translates over into your professional career too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously it's different in that, in the fire service, as volunteer, your pager goes off in the middle of the night and somebody needs help, and you get up out of bed, go to the firehouse and go do that. But you're helping those people in a real time of need. In my career, it is maybe helping a young employee who's right out of college or a new employee. You're helping them learn. You're helping to teach them the right way to do things, whatever that may be. You're helping a construction team work through a problem. Is there a better way to do the mechanical work? Is there a different way to tackle the schedule? You're ultimately helping the team, which is helping everyone's customer, the building owner. So in both cases, you're helping people. It's just a little bit different way to do it. And I found as I've gotten older, one of the things I get the most fulfillment from at both work and the volunteer firefighting is actually helping to teach younger folks.
Yeah, Jonathan, that really is the driver for me even writing the Leading with Clear Purpose book that this event coming up is based on, because I had a conversation with a buddy who also graduated high school with me and Ben, and I heard him kind of struggling, not physically, but mentally, and this is sucking the life out of me. I'm not getting the fulfillment I used to.
Yeah.
And the dots were no longer connecting in what he did professionally with getting that fulfillment. Now, I'm going to change gears a little bit, and I want to really dig in, because you've had some wonderful experiences through your career and in fire service. What really motivated you to move toward developing that skill set that is leadership? Because, hey, it's one thing to be called a chief. It's one thing to be called a boss, but leading people is very, very different than bossing people around.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's an old saying, it's easier to pull a rope than push a rope. And I think there's a whole lot of truth in that. I think definitely as a leader, what you don't want to do is just sit back and tell people, you go do this, you go do that. I mean, you need to give direction, but you also want to be out there helping, in a work perspective, whether it be as a project manager or a general contractor. You want to be out on the job site, getting to know the guys. You want to be out there seeing what they're doing. You want to be out there building a relationship with them. You don't, as a leader, want to be seen as a completely separate, up on this high perch that they can't talk to. It's all about building a team. I mean, to me, that's what a whole lot of leadership is. It's not about just pointing a finger and saying, go do it.
Yeah. And truth be told, in many cases, if we're in a leadership role, we're carrying a lot more responsibility, and it's a lot heavier. It might not be physically as demanding on any given day, but if we're truly leading, the load's heavy.
Oh, absolutely. Because whatever it is you're involved in, the outcome of that, everyone's contribution is equally important, but ultimately the leader carries the responsibility for whether it fails or it succeeds. So, definitely so. And you talked earlier about the clocking in, clocking out, making widgets. Well, at the end of the day, that's no more or less important than any other job. But when you clock out, you're done. As a leader, you're never done. You're always thinking, your phone's always ringing, you're always getting emails. Very few evenings go by that, I'm not getting texts and phone calls and emails, and the same with, anyone who's in a leadership capacity. So, never really stops.
Absolutely correct. And that's okay. That's what we signed up for.
Yeah.
But again,
absolutely.
That purpose better be there, and it's a skill set to develop. Cindy and I, over the last several years, and now over the last year with you included, we've had what we feel like has been a fantastic working relationship with Jake, Darla, now you, and the Young's Mechanical Solutions team.
Yeah.
When we started talking with you guys about possibly partnering with us on the Leadership Legacy event coming up, what was the biggest draw? Why did you say, yeah, I think this is the year we're going to lock arms and partner on this?
Oh, well, I tell you, so what I really, among many things I value about our relationship with you and Cindy, but one thing I think really sets you guys apart is you both have real world experience and insight. leadership can be kind of a nebulous kind of concept where you can kind of, just talk about the concepts, but not really live them. I feel like you and Cindy both live those concepts, and you've both been leaders and are leaders. So that really, I think, is what sets you apart. You're living what you're talking about, and you have been a leader. Both of you have been leaders in various roles before you're in the role you're currently in, and I think you really live what you preach. But both of you do.
Well, I never take that lightly, Jonathan. Thank you for that. I'll share
Yeah.
that for either of us, we've never had direct reports, but we've always had roles where we're responsible for getting results through a team
Yes.
of people who report to other people who don't always support what we need them to do. So
Yeah.
that's where the whole earning influence, earning respect, building
Yes.
a team has come in very.
And it's really clear to us that both of you guys have been in those roles. I mean, you're really, you guys have lived what you're talking about.
Well, it's thank you for that. Now,
Yeah.
I kind of teed it up with that question about how much we've enjoyed working with Young's Mechanical Solutions. And hey, a relatively new company as things go, but you guys are doing some amazing things. What would you like the community to know about Young's Mechanical Solutions that they probably don't know, that they maybe don't know of you at all because the company's relatively new?
Yes, absolutely. So relatively new company, and we're growing very fast. And our customer base has been really fairly small, very selective. We really have not done a lot of marketing. We're just now starting to market, starting to get our name out there because we really haven't needed to. We started out doing mechanical service work. You talked about Jake's really unique technical ability earlier. He is top of the mountain when it comes to HVAC technical work. So technical service work is how we started and what we really excel at. Well, that then grew into doing the entire mechanical project. And now that has taken the logical step into plumbing. So we recently added a plumbing division as well. So we're a full service mechanical and plumbing contractor. We design build is really our favorite thing to do and kind of our sweet spot. But we do hard bid work, design build work, negotiated work, really any type of commercial mechanical and plumbing work within an hour and a half of Harrisonburg. But one thing about us, we have the technical ability of the really large mechanical contractors. I think we're right up there with any of them with the technical ability, but we're much, much, much smaller. So you have day-to-day interaction with the owners, myself as general manager. So you get all the benefits of working with a very small contractor and also the benefits of working with a large contractor as well.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. You mentioned earlier some of your background in civil engineering and general contracting and so on. You didn't come into the business with a heavy amount of HVAC knowledge. Jake's got it.
No, not at all. My background is really in construction as a whole. The things that I know the most about are probably the civil part, the concrete part, building the structure itself. Plumbing and mechanical, I really knew and really, quite frankly, know enough to really have an intelligent conversation about it. But where I can really contribute is, understand contracts, understand the process, understand the schedules, understand what our customers are really looking for. So I think that helps to make Jake, Darla, and I such a good team is, Jake is extremely good with the technical part. I like to think I'm okay with the general contracting part, and Darla is awesome with the HR part, and we're really good. This is a really good team. We mesh together really well.
Yeah, you've added a dynamic there, not that they couldn't do, but it frees them up to do the things that they can do great, so they don't have
Yes,
to
sir.
deal with the things you can plug in and do great yourself. It's really
Yes,
fun
sir.
to watch.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I know as you're a year in with the organization, they're relatively new in the space and so on, at least as a company of their own. Give me an example of something that you guys have been a part of recently where you've just knocked it out of the park and it's made an impact on the industry you serve or a specific client.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I like to think, many of the projects that we've done, we've completed ahead of schedule. We've come up with very creative design build solutions. I think that have added a lot of value for the clients. I think that's something that we really pride ourselves on. Many of our service projects and also our construction projects as far as just community service type things. We recently donated a air handling unit to hurricane relief in Western North Carolina that I think definitely made a difference for the community. We sponsor a golf tournament in West Virginia at the Franklin golf course for scholarships. We're involved with Massanutten and Votech. Several of our employees are really involved in their church, different volunteer entities. So I think we really, contribute in a lot of different ways.
As an industry goes, those are awesome as far as the community service and so on. And you talked earlier about your role currently with Bridgewater Fire Department and your role over the years, so to speak. But in the industry, I know, again, I'll go back to Jake's expertise, and there are clients that seek him out, seek you as a company out because of what he does there. And it's often not the cheapest game in town, but they know, hey, the level of service we're going to get from that expertise and the people in the field that deliver it is second to none. So it's
well, you're exactly right. We have really a select group of service customers, and really that's how they have all ended up working with us. They've all known Jake for years. They know Jake's technical ability, and in a lot of cases they have multiple facilities. The Aerojet facility that's now owned by L3 Harris in Orange. They make a lot of things for the military. Extremely complicated dehumidification is needed. And we do a lot of their very technical work. And that's all come about because of their trust in Jake's technical knowledge. A lot of the work we do for local clients that have multiple facilities, we actually work with local engineers to figure out the best solution. And we're able to do that because of Jake's, technical knowledge. He can help the engineers come up with the most cost-effective solution.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch, and I appreciate you sharing that detail. I wasn't going to ask specifically about Culpeper, but it was certainly on my mind in that.
Yes.
No, Jonathan, when you were coming in a year ago, when you're starting to have the conversation with Jake and Darla, you've got a wonderful background. You've established yourself in the industry. You've got a great reputation with the folks. And that's what I've probably been impressed with the most. I've enjoyed our mutual friends, but as I've talked with different people that I've met, that I've known over the years, oh, Jonathan's great. And here's how I've interacted with him. And it continues to happen. What did you see about the purpose of Young's Mechanical Solutions that really aligned with your own? You alluded to this earlier, but what aligned with your own values and purpose that you said, yeah, this is the right fit?
Well, I think that ethics and morals and doing work correctly and doing the right thing and being very serious about meeting a schedule, being very serious about doing what the customer wants. Those things are all really important to me. And, and getting to know Jake, getting to know Darla, it was really clear to me that we are extremely like-minded people that all value that. And this being a relatively new company, looking to grow, obviously already growing, I thought this would be a really good opportunity for me to work with people that I really like, that are very similar to me, and help to grow the organization that has the same values that I do.
It's been fun to watch. I appreciate the opportunity and the proximity that I've been able to have through the process. Jonathan, if you were having this conversation with my son, he's
Mm-hmm.
30 years old, or your kids, I've met both
Yep.
of your boys. If you were having this conversation and they says, hey, we're young professionals, we want to grow in what we do, how do we develop ourselves in our career that we can be successful leaders? Not talking about the position or the title, but how do we earn that leadership influence? What
Yeah.
would you tell them?
Well, I think number one, it starts with being to work every day, on time with a good attitude. A lot of what you see with, people of all ages, but specifically younger people, a lot of whom are great, but some of whom, might come in late or miss a day here or there. I think it starts with earning the respect of your coworkers to build the team that I talked about earlier. So I think it starts with the really simple things. You're at work every day, on time, good attitude, you work hard. Anything that needs to be done, don't be afraid to jump in and do it, if whatever that may be. And then from there, I think what it grows into is no matter what a coworker's role is, no matter who that person is, what they do is just as important as what everybody else does. And listen to them, like really hear what they're saying, really value their opinion, listen to their feedback. When it's time to make a decision, really think about the input, listen to what everybody has to say, and be respectful and listen to everyone within the organization. I think that's ultimately how you really begin to build that team that then you lead. You as a leader have got to gain people's respect first. Respect is not something that's just given. It's something you've got to earn, and you really can't lead till you have that respect. And that starts by respecting your coworkers.
Yeah, I often tell people that I can sit in the garage and it ain't making me a car. I can have a title and it ain't making me a leader.
Yes, that is exactly right. Titles do not matter. Obviously you have to have titles. Things have to be somewhat organized. But at the end of the day, it's about what you're doing during the day and what you're getting done. Is way more important than what your title may happen to be.
100%. Jonathan, what if I not ask you in this conversation that you would like to share as we kind of wrap this up?
Really, we've talked about Young's Mechanical Solutions. We've talked about our relationship with you and Cindy, which we really value. Just like to say, if anyone has a need for mechanical work, plumbing work, please look us up on the web. Would love to speak with you. I think we would do a really good job for you.
I'm 100% certain of that. Now, wherever this is being accessed, there are links in the live feed. I've put the links in the comments already for Young's Mechanical Solutions in the digital course that's going with the VIP registration and we'll make available after the Leadership Legacy experience. There's going to be links and some downloads, and we've been really, really intentional as we've worked through this process. The version that's on our podcast, the links are going to be there as well. We've been intentional working through this process that everybody that we're interacting with, they add huge value in their respective industries. In some cases, there are a few in the same respective industries, but the reality is competition's an okay thing. It forces all of us to be better.
Absolutely. Yeah. Competition it's a necessary thing and it's an okay thing. I mean, there's good competition with mutual respect and everyone does quality work. And then, there can be competition that's a little bit not so good. I mean, all of us in business know about that, but competition is a good thing. And just because they're your competitor doesn't mean they're not good people. So you definitely need to treat them with respect as well. At the end of the day, they're trying to do the same thing we're trying to do.
Yeah. And with the caveat, unless they're just not good people. And then sometimes that's the decision they've made and you reap what you sow, right?
Yes, sir. You are correct. And you can find good people and not so good people anywhere you look. No doubt about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'll bring this to a close. Again, Jonathan, thank you for the time, the chat through this. This is fantastic. We just love the relationship we've got with you guys. Anybody that's accessing this. So in the greater Leading at the Next Level program outside of the podcast, Cindy and I have built I don't know, north of 160 hours worth of lessons in that. If you have a need for continuing education credit, specifically in the human resource certification field, but in some others too, reach out to us. Send us an email at admin@dove-development.net, and we'll hook you up with a 45-day all-access trial. We do some live lessons that we broadcast monthly. There's a bunch in the digital side. We'll grant you access. Hopefully it adds some value. If you want more long-term, we can work through that with you as well. So
we'll do it. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thanks for the opportunity to chat. We'll close this out for now, and we look forward to seeing anybody that's watching this live or on the podcast at the Leadership Legacy Experience coming up in just over 6 weeks. Make it a great day.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, sir. Thank you. God bless.